Hi guys and dolls, welcome back to Queenie of London. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you're all well and that you had a fantastic time over the coronation weekend. Now today I'm standing in the middle of the King's Road in the beautiful Duke of York Square. I'm here to launch a brand new addition to my channel, which I'm going to call Queenie on the Kings, Chelsea Through Time. I greatly love and am passionate about the history of where I live, so I wanted to share its sights, its shops and its stories with you to keep its incredible history alive. Chelsea's past is so rich and so complex that it would be impossible to contain it within one single video. So my channel will now become home to a series of bite-sized videos, each shining a spotlight on individual buildings, places and people. Never fear though, because my channel will still be home to all the latest London events and trips inside London's shops to show you what's new throughout the year. So I hope you'll stick with me and enjoy this first episode, which I hope will give you an overview of how the Chelsea we know now came to be. From iconic era-defining shops such as Mary Quant's Bazaar and Westwood's Let It Rock, to the homes of people as famous as the Rolling Stones, P.L. Travers and Dante Gabriel Rossetti, Oscar Wilde, and our much beloved pensioners in the red coats, to sites of cultural product, from the paintings of Whistler to the female eunuch of Germaine Greer. This is a street on which every building seems to have something to say. I want to take you from the top to the bottom. From Sloane Square to World's End, to tell the stories of one of London's most famous and most fashionable streets. This is Chelsea, and this is the King's Road. The King's Road gets its name from its use as the private royal road of Merry Monarch Charles II, who reigned from 1660 to 1685, but the area's royal connections stretch a lot further back in time. In 1536, King Henry VIII acquired Chelsea Manor. He knocked down the building he purchased and promptly built something much grander, which spanned the area along the river that we now know as Cheyne Walk. The previous year, Henry had executed another of Chelsea's early famous residents, Sir Thomas More. Indeed, it was from Beaufort House, the home that More had built in 1520, in what was then just the very green village of Chelsea, that he was taken to be transported along the Thames to the Tower of London. Further down the line, Henry's country retreat would be lived in by Sir Hans Sloane, a man whose name is stamped all over Chelsea, and given to a very particular kind of Chelsea resident, the Ranger. Sloane's house stretched from the banks of the river and encompassed land that would later become the site of a King's Road icon. Number 430, the shop of royalty of the fashion kind, Dame Vivienne Westwood. So Charles II had this road built to make the journey between his two palaces, Hampton Court and Whitehall, easier. During the reign of George II, access to the road was granted to a select few notables who were issued with special copper passes. These passes were embossed with the King's monogram on one side and stamped with the words "The King's Private Road" on the other. These passes could also be acquired, for a modest fee, by local tenants. It wasn't until 1830 that the road was finally opened up to the public. Sloane Square was created in 1771, and it is really from this year that the Chelsea we know today started to take shape. The first Sloane Square Underground station opened on Christmas Eve 1868. This photo shows bomb damage sustained during the Second World War. The first curtain up at the Royal Court in 1870. The construction of the Chelsea Embankment in 1874 by Joseph Bazalgette. Up went brand new bridges. And in 1877, a draper called Peter Jones opened a shop at numbers 4 to 6, and his name still graces the front of this very special branch of John Lewis. It was from the 18th century that the writers and the artists and the musicians started to move in, and they never really left. Through my little wanderings, you'll see the homes and hear the stories of Chelsea residents Jonathan Swift, Mozart, Dr. Thomas Arne, Jane Austen, Elizabeth Gaskell, Percy Bysshe Shelley and Mary Wollstonecraft, J.M.W. Turner, Bram Stoker, A.A. Milne and Jerome K. Jerome, to name but a few. Blink in Chelsea and you'll miss a blue plaque commemorating the movers and the shakers of the cultural world. No history of the King's Road would be complete without a good look at the shops. It was here in the 1950s where the boutique was born. The King's Road and Carnaby Street became the epicentres of swing in London in the 60s, and British punk was born out of World's End in the 70s. The London of 1955 was largely still unchanged from the London at the end of the Second World War, and the King's Road, with its chain stores and essential services, looked like any other British high street. In the 50s, retail units could still be purchased relatively cheaply, getting cheaper the further you navigated from Sloane Square. But Chelsea's long-established artistic counterculture and the presence of several landmarks, the Pheasantry Club, Chelsea College of Art and Design, the Royal Court Theatre, meant the King's Road wasn't really anything like a normal provincial high street. As the boutiques sprung up, from Bazaar to Granny Takes a Trip to Hung on You, the area from the World's End Distillery to Sloane Square Underground Station became more than just a road. It became a catwalk, a place to see and be seen, and of course every fashion show needs a soundtrack, so there'll be a lot of music in these episodes too. So guys and dolls, I'm going to wrap this first episode of Queenie on the Kings up here for today. Thank you so much for coming back in time with me. I so hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something. Let me know if there are any parts of Chelsea's history that you are particularly interested in, and I'd be more than happy to make them a subject of a future episode. Until next time, my lovelies, here's some shots of the shops. I know how much you all like them. Take good care of yourselves. Loads and loads of love from London, Queenie.